Good morning, ladies. I'm down here at the coach's office, the attack office, I have some information that I want to convey to you guys today in a series of 4 small lectures. And so I've sent this out on an email to your parents, and hopefully they downloaded it and you've had a chance to go over it. And I'm going to go through this whole thing point by point today and try to get a basis, a foundation for how we want to approach our season. So you'll notice on your lecture sheet that I have listed out the first thing, that the challenges that are up ahead for our team. And I've listed 8 separate things that I want you to think about that we're going to have to confront and to work our way through. The first one, an obvious one, is that you all have a new coach. Every single girl on the team has a new coach. And I'm excited about this season, and I'm really going to enjoy coaching this team. And we'll get to know each other as we go. The player-coach relationship is a super important one in terms of how much enjoyment you get out of the season and how much enjoyment I get out of the season, as well as our success as a team. The second thing is you have new teammates. Every single person here has new teammates, and everybody comes in on an equal footing. There was 8 girls that were on the team last year, and we have 8 new girls on the team. So this is going to be an exciting challenge for us, and for all of us, it's going to be a chance to make new friends and learn a lot about how soccer is played in relationship to each other. The third thing is we're moving to the big field this year. This means a lot more space, a lot more fitness level. The amount of space is significant, and you'll see it when we get on a big field. A big field is huge. So it makes a difference in how we play, and it also makes a difference in your commitment to come into camp fit. So you should be training right now. The size 5 ball is not a big thing. It'll be a small bump in our rearview mirror in just a couple months, but it is a start. It's a heavier, bigger soccer ball. It's more difficult to control, and that'll be an adjustment that you have to make. A big one tactically is the size of the goal is so much larger, and the goal got way bigger, but goalkeepers are not that much bigger, and they'll catch up as they get older. But right now, we're going to see a lot of small goalkeepers in a big goal, and that makes a difference in how we play, where we shoot from, what kind of shots we take, and how fast we close defensively to make sure that other teams don't get those scoring opportunities. Another thing is heading. I sent you a little video clip, and I'm hoping you're starting to work on heading. Heading is an important skill to learn. Rule number 1 in heading is if you don't want to head it, don't. But you need to learn how to head the ball. So if you feel uncomfortable with your soccer ball and heading, and you're working a little bit on it, go down to a volleyball, something that is softer on your head, and it's just so you can gain confidence and feel more comfortable when you're heading the ball. And then lastly, we have a new level. Last year, you guys went undefeated in the Presidio League. This year, we move up to a higher level of competition. And that's a challenge because we're going to face tougher teams, and we may not win all the games. And how we respond to that is going to be important. And I want you to know that winning is not the most important thing for me. I like to win. Everyone likes to win, especially competitors. But there's a lot of things that are more important than winning soccer games. But then again, like I said, it's more fun to win than not to win. The next thing I want to talk about is a team philosophy. It's taken me a lot of years of coaching to really develop a philosophy that works for me. Something that dictates how I approach training sessions and how I approach team building. And I want you to be aware of that so that you guys understand where I'm coming from and kind of the expectations that we might have. The first and foremost thing on this whole list is that we treat our teammates like gold. Your teammates are your greatest asset. Good relationships between players is the #1 dictator to how much fun you're going to have this season. It also directly relates to how much success we're going to have on the field. And we want this team to grow. And to do that, you have to really enjoy each other's company. So we treat each other like gold. And that means we don't tease each other, we don't provoke each other, We use kind words. We're all going to make mistakes. And so when somebody makes a mistake, we pull them up off the ground. We give them a pat on the back. We tell them it's okay, because you're going to make a mistake, and you want your teammates to treat you in the same way. The second thing is that we never quit, no matter what. To me, there's very few things worse than quitting. It doesn't matter if we're ahead 5-0 or if we're behind 5-0. We are going to play the same way. We are going to try our best. We're going to give our best effort. We're going to continue to have a positive attitude to see what's going to happen next, and we will never roll over. And that way, at the end of the game, win, lose, or draw, we walk off the field and we know we gave it our best effort, right? We never stopped playing hard. The third thing on our list is that every player is a defender. Now, depending on where you are on the field, your tactics may differ, but when the other team has the ball, everyone has to play defense. There are no lazy forwards going to be on this team. The defenders train hard, they defend hard when the other team has the ball. Midfielders are making recovery runs, and everybody is focused on regaining possession of the ball. The next one is everyone is an attacker. Defenders, we depend on you gaining good ball skills so that we can use you like midfielders. The goalkeeper initiates 25% of every attack. The goalkeeper is an attacking player when she has the ball. So that's punts, throws, goal kicks, that she initiates the attack. The next one is that every touch is important. Not every touch is vital. There's a lot of sloppiness. Even at the highest levels of soccer, not every touch is vital for the outcome of the game, but you don't know which one is going to be the most vital. And so you have to treat every moment in the game as an important thing. And that goes to our training sessions. We'll not be able to have that mentality in games unless we have that mentality in training. So we train focused on every touch, and that way we get consistency, we build habits, we groove our skills and our techniques so that during the game, we don't have to think about it. It just comes out. And then lastly, we want to make sure that we're not afraid of making mistakes. This is called a growth mindset. A growth mindset is one that's adventurous. It pushes the limits. And when you do that, you're going to make mistakes as we try new things. And we want to learn from those. We don't want to make sure we keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again, but we're not afraid to make mistakes. And I'm going to treat it that way too. You will not hear me yelling at you about mistakes on the field. All right, girls, the next thing we want to talk about is the arrangement of the field and how we change our tactics and we change our formation even depending on where we are in the field and whether we have the ball or the other team has the ball. In general, we divide the field into thirds. Down here is our goalkeeper, and this would be called the defensive third of the field. Now, obviously, there's no line on the field, and this line is actually entirely mobile, depending on where the ball is on the field and at what time, where and what's happening during the game. So this is just kind of an approximation. This would be called the midfield third, and this would be the attacking third. And so, again, the formation that we adopt, whatever formation that is, will change constantly and flux constantly depending on how things are going in the game, where the ball is, and how much pressure we're under, and how much pressure we're putting the other team under. So, in the defensive third, the tactics that we employ are tight marking. Now, the tightness of the marking depends on the proximity of the ball. If you're a defender here, and the ball's over here, you can lay off your player, you can drop in a little bit and be away from them if the ball's over here. But the closer the ball gets to you, the tighter you have to mark. And so the first principle in the defense is tight marking. The second thing about the defensive third is we want to do really strong tackling. We want to stick and hold. We want to steal the ball or play it away, poke it away. We want to destroy whatever they're trying to create as it's happening. The third principle in the defensive third is support and communication. I don't want this player, and we don't want this player to be solo with a really good dribbler. If this person has the ball, we don't want this player to be all by herself. We want to make sure that she has support. She has a player in case she gets beat. We have midfielders who are recovering, and this is called a support position. The third thing that we want to talk about is patience. A lot of times our parents are yelling or people are yelling from the sideline, get the ball, get the ball. Sometimes that's the right thing to do, and sometimes that's not the right thing to do. We don't have to win by getting the ball necessarily. We want to make sure that we don't get beat, that we don't get that ball behind us. And so a lot of times it's better to employ patience. If this girl is a really good dribbler and she has the ball, we don't want to dive in and then get beat, but we want to have the patience so that this player can come over and support us, or this player can get back and help me. So we employ shadowing techniques. We get our knees bent, we stay in front, and it's a very similar tactic to what goes on in basketball. I know some of you girls play basketball. And so it's very much the same body position, and we'll talk about more of that at team camp. The third thing we want to do is we want to constrict space. We like it when it's crowded defensively. It gives the other team less room to maneuver. And you'll notice this area here, we'll talk about it more in a while. This is where all the goals get scored from, in this blue line. And so we want to force other teams to go outside. We don't want to let them come inside. And so we use the sideline almost like a barrier. We want to force them into a constricted space. And the more constricted the space is, the easier it is for us to tackle the ball or to play it away. The next thing is we want to play with two persons on defense. We want to drop in, get 2 versus 1. We don't want this player to just stay there. If I can force this player to come inside to here, and then we get 2-on-1, or if I can hold her off long enough that this player can get back, we can get 2-on-1, it's so much easier to steal the ball, and it's so much more secure. Lastly, we make recovery runs if the ball gets behind us. If player O gets behind our defense down here with the ball, and we're here, we're making recovery runs. And our target is the near post. We want to run back inside. We don't want to chase her. We want to get back inside and cut off her angle. And so recovery runs becomes an absolute foundation for our defense. Defenders need to know that their midfielders are coming. The midfielders got to be making recovery runs, and we're going to crowd up this area and make it impossible for the other team to be creative. So that's the goal. All right. We want to talk about the about the midfield third now, this area of the field. And this area of the field is where we do a lot of passing. We do a lot of creative play. We don't do so much dribbling in this third of the field, but we want to really start to set up the tempo of the game in this, and we want to start to try to create opportunities for the attacking to begin. This is where we engage the other team. This is the reason in the midfield why we do lots of rondos during our warm-up. We do 3 versus 1, we do 4 versus 2, we do 5 versus 3, we do all different kind of rondos, just quick keep-away games. Will be a constant diet in our training session, and the purpose of this is to develop midfield play. I want to emphasize that when we have the ball, defenders need to play like attackers, which means they need to move into the midfield. We don't always want to go in this direction. We want to be able to go in this direction, and even back. And the best place to launch the attack and the person with the most space is the defenders, especially the outside defenders. We want to be able to go back to them and have them go in and play like a midfielder. This is why it's really important for midfielders when we get done with the ball, we clear the ball out or we win it and we play it out, we don't stand there. Our job is not done. Now you're an attacker. So you move into the midfield, and we do this keep-away game with the expectation that we're going to be able to change it to a more open space. So the first thing in the midfield is be creative. Control the ball and look for spaces. It says connect passes, short and long. Create mismatches. We want to be able to find our player over here with one person rather than a player here with 2 people. So midfield play is a lot about looking, controlling the ball quickly, and knowing several different options. We want to work on diagonals whenever we can. This is called vertical play, when you're going up and down the field. If I'm a midfielder and I'm passing it up to an attacker in a straight line like this, it's disadvantageous. It's more advantageous for the other team to be able to step in and steal that ball. That's a hard ball for an attacker to gain. We would rather play a diagonal to here and then over to there on another diagonal. This is much easier to receive. This is a lot of times why we talk about triangles. And we work triangles as the most basic shape, the most basic and simplest geometric shape that involves width and depth. Both is a triangle. So we work triangles all over the field. Small triangles, like keep away games, and big triangles, we want to change the direction of the field. So when we're engaging the other team with midfield play, what we're really looking for, right, the pay dirt, is when we go on the attack. And so we call this breaking a line. And I know that Mike talked about this. I don't know if your other coaches have talked about it. But when the other team is here, like this, to break this line, we want to pass the ball between them and behind them. That's breaking this line. As long as we're passing here, it's good, but it doesn't give us a scoring opportunity, right? It's just holding the ball. It's engaging your opponent. This is called the ordinary force. When we break a line, now we're attacking, right? Now we're called the extraordinary force. We're moving forward and putting them in danger. We're making ourselves dangerous. And that's the object of the midfielders, is to get the attack going. So, short plays, triangles, ball control. You have to have a lot of ball control as a midfielder. And then we're looking for quick changes of direction. Doom, 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 boom, over to this side. And then we attack, or breaking the line. All right, girls, we want to talk about the attacking third of the field now. And the attacking third is where all the high action goes. You know, when we have the ball and we're in their end, that's when the game gets really exciting. And what you need to realize is in the attacking third, there's actually this cone which represents where most goals come from. In this area, you know, you have to have a good leg to score from out here, but again, with short goalkeepers, this is a great place to take a shot from. But almost all goals are scored inside this cone. So everything, even in the attacking third, is about setting up the ball in this area. And the question is, how do we set it up? So the first thing is, in the attacking third, we get creative. We take chances. We're going to make a lot of mistakes in the attacking third. Sometimes for the other players on our team, it'll get very frustrating when an attacking player goes one-on-one. Here's the defender. Here's our girl with the ball. And she goes on one-on-one and she loses the ball. She gets beat. Oh, we want her to take risks like that. One-on-one in the attacking third is gold. When we see one-on-one in the attacking third, we want our attacking players to go for it, right? To take that chance and beat that girl. It's not going to always pan out. There's an old saying, you got to break eggs to make an omelet, right? So we're going to take chances and they're not going to all work out. But the second part of this creativity is a lot of times we can make lemonade out of a lemon. We make a mistake, she gets beat, the ball pops out here, but here comes our midfielder and she goes through. This is the benefit of having midfielders who know how to overlap, who are also attackers. So we want to take chances, we want to be creative, and specifically we want to be able to go one-on-one, especially when there's space. Now, we don't necessarily want to go one-on-one if they have a support player. If they're balanced and they have a support player, this is not a great place for her to go one-on-one. Now's the time to go to a short passing game. The most effective short pass in the game of soccer that's underused, especially in youth teams, is a 1-2, which used to be called a wall pass or a give and go. In this situation, we have the ball, and we set up a player here, and we play it and run through, and we receive the ball behind the other player. 1-2, give and go. And this is a super effective way to beat a single player or to beat two players. And so we're going to become proficient at setting up, give, and go. And we get the ball back behind the defense. And so we want to work 1-2s. The best thing about being outside is crossing. And I've seen some of you guys already in training that have good leg. I mean, Hagen, you've obviously worked very hard on crossing. I saw some great crosses when we were at the arena. And so in this area of the field, we're not shooting, we're crossing. And so we want to get the ball back into this cone. So one part of this is this player is making good stop and go moves so she can get the ball across. She can win the inline, and if she can get past her defender, she can come around here and now come towards the post. Eventually, though, she's going to have to play it back here. So this makes creative runs important. Everyone's crashing the goal. And so we'll talk about the triangle that we set up in here to maximize our cross. We're not going to be at a level where we can pinpoint a pass to this player's head, right? But what we want to do is create a percentage that's advantageous for us with 3 girls with good angles that can come in and win this ball. Lastly, as Wayne Gretzky famously said, I don't know if you know who Wayne Gretzky is, he was a great hockey player. He said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. We want to shoot. We want to hit the ball, right? Good, solid shots, smart shots, not shots from here, not shots from here, but shots from inside this cone. And when we get an opportunity, we want to hit it. Dribbling, passing are only useful tools to get shots. If we're not getting shots, we're not playing effective attacking soccer. So our strikers have to work left foot and right foot. If you're only right-footed, you're only half an attacker. And so you got to be able to work both feet. Lastly, there's a turn and hit we're going to work on. When this player is receiving the ball here and her back is to the goal, she has to be able to turn quickly and snap a shot. And you can work on this in your backyard. Your mom or dad can feed you the ball. You can play it here, crack a shot, or step over, pull it back over here, crack a shot. All the dribbling moves that you're working on are designed to either get a cross off or to get a shot off. One or the other. So girls, this last part of this first opening lecture, which has been long, so I'm hoping you're staying in there with me. On your paper is listed out some of the principles. The principle of width and depth, of support, position, pressure, patience, deny, delay, destroy, fast or slow, ordinary or extraordinary, all these different things. We're going to get to that, and the systems, we're going to get to that when we're all together. Today, I want to introduce your homework assignment. So the last thing I want to talk about is what kind of attributes does each player, each positional player bring to the field? And we can break this down even more, but we're just going to call defenders, midfielders, and attackers, keeping in mind that when we have the ball, we're all attackers. When the other team has the ball, we're all defenders. We just play differently at different parts of the field. Defenders, I was a defender when I played in college at UCSD. Defenders is a tough job. These are the piano movers. These are the players that get things done. The defenders are the foundation of the team. The foundation. And the foundation of a good house is cement, right? It's not all super elaborate. It's not crystal chandeliers and gold-plated toilets. It's hard work to be a defender. It takes mental toughness. You have to be able to focus on marking. You have to let go of your mistakes. This is tough mentality to be focused like that. You have to have physical strength, but it doesn't mean you have to be big. Quickness is super important for a defender. Physical fitness, quickness, but as well, mental quickness, making quick decisions. Defenders need to communicate, directing traffic. They see all the field. Everything is in front of them. So they should be talking to the midfielders about what their options are. They should be involving themselves when we have the ball. This position is the most difficult emotionally. There's the least reward. It's not a glory position. It's a hard-working position. But players know, people that have played the game know, the defenders is the foundation of the team. It is tactically the most simple. Mark your man. Cover for your teammates. The decisions tend to be less complex. And the benefit of being a really good defender is, as long as you're being an effective defender and you're fit, playing time is higher, generally speaking. Midfielders, the kind of attributes that a midfielder has is their ball control in pressure has to be really, really good. If the ball is bouncing off their feet 2 or 3 feet away, this is not good. The other team is going to steal the ball. So when we do rondos, this is where we learn ball control under pressure. Secondly, they have to be able to make direction changes. Many of the dribbling moves that Paul and Nate were showing you involve changing the direction of the play. This has to be an important part of what a midfielder does, going right, going left. Tactically, it's a much more complex position. There's so many more options, and there's so many things going on around you. You have up in front, to the right, to the left, and behind you. This position requires the greatest level of fitness and the greatest work ethic. Midfielders push up and they drop back. They make recovery runs constantly. Lastly, the decision-making process, making quick, easy decisions or quick, difficult decisions, has to be done all the time, all the time. They're not all going to work out, but it's an important position for directing traffic and creating flow in the game. Lastly, attackers. Attackers have to be shooting. They have to have a good hard shot. They have to be improvise and be creative, especially 1 versus 1. We want our in the attacking third to dribble, to beat players on the dribble. Not so much in the midfield, but definitely a lot in the attacking third. Crossing has to be a big part of this, left foot and right foot. This position has the most glory, but it also has the most expectations. And so it's a high pressure position. The worst thing about this position is to be a lazy forward. If you want the respect of your teammates, forwards have to be hardworking and selfless players. A lot of times, attackers have to make a decision of whether to crack a medium shot or make a pass for a better shot. That's the kind of decisions attackers have to make. And lastly, attackers have to be confident. The best attackers in the world are very confident players. And so you have to be able to say, well, I didn't score on that one, but the next one I'm going to get. And you have to have that kind of confidence. Your homework is for you to report back to me next week in our Zoom meeting where you think you are best. It says it at the bottom, your homework. Be prepared to share what is your best position and what is your favorite position. That's not necessarily going to be the position that you spend most of the time at. But I want to, as I'm putting together this puzzle of the team, where you're going to play, where different players are, I want to put you in a place where it's most advantageous for you to be successful. And so I want to know, what do you think about yourself? Evaluate yourself in these terms. Where do you feel most comfortable? And then we'll start talking about that, and that'll be part of our discussion. And if you don't want to share it with the whole team, email it to me. But we should be able to confident, if we treat our teammates like gold, sharing what our best attributes are should be something that we should be able to talk about pretty easily on a Zoom conference. So, with that in mind, girls, I know this has been a long lecture, but I hope you take it in little chunks and come with questions, come with ideas, so that in our next Zoom meeting, we have a lot of stuff to talk about.